believe it or not. But I represent High Valley Arts, and we've been in the county for the past 10 years. We've entertained over 35,000 people, the majority of them in twice-a-year musicals. Over half of our people, our attendees come from outside Wasatch County. So our organization has no home of our own, and we need a place if we're going to continue offering a high level of arts events to the community. And because we've been planning to build a theater for the past 10 years, we're immersed in the theater arts. We know firsthand what a building should look like, what it takes to run one, and etc. And we've gathered a lot of material about a theater, which we are now beginning to share with the Wasatch County Coalition, so that together we can work together to build a theater. And already we've assisted them in their feasibility studies by assessing the needs of each arts group in the valley. And based on that information, we are suggesting a 45,000 square foot building, a little more than half the size of the 70,000 square foot building which the coalition proposed in March of this year. And this building would include 4 performance venues, outdoor theater, recital hall, a black box or small theater, and a state-of-the-art main theater. It would provide tourist dollars as well as give a performance venue for every single Wasatch County arts group. We propose a privately funded, privately operated building with a concrete, very verifiable system to allow every arts group in the valley the opportunity to use it. No county or city funds would be involved either in the construction or the maintenance. So we would like to share with the county the structure of this building at some time, how it would be paid for, how it would be maintained, as well as the input of county arts groups who have expressed a desire to work with High Valley Arts in this project. We are working hand in hand with the coalition to make sure that together we reach the goal of building a community theater. So we would like that opportunity to present it to the community, to the council. We don't want money from the county, but we need support in other ways. We also support the coalition's request for funds for a feasibility study. So we'd just like to request an opportunity to present that information.
I will pass that on to Councilman McPhee as the chair, and potentially could be our next meeting, which will be the first Wednesday in September.
Why don't we put it on for the work meeting in September?
That might be a good work meeting rather than, and maybe have the other group here.
The coalition too. Yeah, we're working together, so that would be great.
Case, I'll write that.
Any questions?
Pass that on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other items? Any other public? Seeing none. Mr. Davis, any administrative items? Council, any legislative items?
I have one that maybe for a work session that we look at. We talked about it in the last planning commission meeting, that maybe we needed to review our impact fees and see if any of them need, or at a point in the time for needing updating.
Tom, do you know where that, in that process, I guess that comes through planning, or what?
Well, one of the specific ones was, and we'll talk about it today, is the parks, update to the parks master plan. And if we need to increase impact fees to purchase lands, or how that was going to be dealt with. And I assume if that were the case, it would be the Parks Department that would be doing the impact fee analysis.
Because that's the one that would be asking for increase. If that's
actually, the county's responsible for the impact fees, the study. We would need to update. We would need to hire a consultant and update our impact fee plan, and what they do is they'll then go through those studies. The county collects impact fees. The Park and Rec does not collect impact fees.
Right.
So it has to be a county issue, and so we would have to update our current fee, or at least have a review of the current fees. There has to be justification for the updates and so forth.
And maybe we don't need them. I just thought we at least need to talk about it. They said several of them have been 7 to 10 years plus since they've been done. Is that right?
It's been that long?
Probably
2008, I want to say.
Mike, would we have to do a new capital facility plan, or could we just update the one we got?
We could probably update the one we have.
And then just do a new fee study?
Yeah, and it depends on how much you add to the list, so to speak. If you start adding a whole bunch of new things that weren't on the old plan, we may have to redo the plan.
So that would be good, you know, report maybe what those fees are out of the work meeting in September, and then we could decide to move forward or not.
I can't remember how we did. Mountain Line help us in the last one?
I don't recall. I thought we was Louis Young.
Ryan's name.
Maybe that was it.
Matt, you know,
These chairs are a little too close together, sorry.
Okay, we have that, I'll mention that. Councilman Good, did you have something to
Yes.
add? Yeah.
I would like us to look at the possibility of repealing ordinance 1701. This was the ordinance that made the exception for homes that were, subdivisions that were planted before 1980. Since we made that decision in January, that ordinance was passed, we've put the building department in charge of making the decisions related to what I think was the driver for that ordinance. And so that ordinance may be unnecessary at this point, and maybe we should examine.
So that's what you were asking about?
Yeah.
1701.
I believe it was 1701. If it wasn't, I'm sorry if I said the wrong number.
1701 was the one that allowed a home up to 1,500 square feet built prior to 1980
That's the one.
to waive some of the conditions.
Correct. And I think now that the way that we have it worked out, fire makes their determination on what's needed, and then building determines if they can mitigate it out of sprinklers or if it needs sprinklers. And I think the solution that we have would apply just as well there, and we should remove the exception. Or at least discuss it.
So now what would we need to do to repeal? Just bring the ordinance and talk about it in a meeting whether we wanted to.
We would pass a new ordinance.
Yeah, you'd have to do a new ordinance.
We're talking about claims stuff.
Well, why don't we throw it?
Yes, I think that's
Just discuss it before we do it.
yeah, that's what I
Because there's merit on both sides.
Yeah. Okay, any others, council? See none, our first item on the agenda. See, were we gonna do this, when we talked, we're gonna do this or council item number one, how long did it take?
We're going to do, well, we're going to do the fire district.
It's in order, okay.
Motion
So,
to go into the Wasatch County Fire District Special Service District meeting.
we have a motion to go into Wasatch County Fire SSD. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye. We're now in the Wasatch County Fire District, SSD. We got two items and we have some warrants too. Okay. Two items to discuss. One is the proposed tax increase, and the other is authorizing the chief to send out an RFP to get a needs assessment capital facility plan, which will include an impact fee study as well. So Chief, you want to start out, or you want me to go ahead?
I think as council knows, we met as a fire board and talked about this. I never had it on the agenda, so that's why I'm here today, is we're just underfunded. I know we went after one in 2013 in the amount of $600,000. My proposal is to go for a minimum of $750 this year, which equates to about $8 and some cents a month per household on an average, which equates to $32.94 a year on a home, $380,453 value. So I guess I'm here to see if the fire board will pass this along. It's on the agenda for the county council.
So in this meeting, do we have to propose or have to advise the county council on a specific amount, or just inform the county council that we are looking for an increase? Do you know the answer to that, or Brent, do you know?
Well, I think it's to inform the council of an increase, and it would be good to have an amount. Yes.
So where, Danny, where you asked that question for us, where to discuss what you have?
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, We're jumping over this because, okay. So,
Put it up.
yeah, could we put one of these up? I think there's one laying on the desk, or there's one on Rick's desk.
Actually, we're going to discuss council. What do you think? Accept the discussion. Make a motion to move it to council.
I think we kind of set the discussion here,
And then after that,
other amount and the reason behind it, and then we'll go to council.
so we propose that recommendation to council and then, okay.
Just a question on that, as far as the $750, did that come from your advisory board
It did.
on that? And probably explain to us where the funds would go or how it's going to be.
It's actually spread out amongst some of it. As some of you remember, there was $300,000 set aside for apparatus replacement on the other one. We're looking at trying to bring on some more full-time people, and it'll go partially for that, and also to help with this apparatus. We've been 4 years on this $300,000. We have purchased a ladder truck, and it'll be delivered in November. Total cost of that thing's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1.1 at the time we get it equipped. So they're super expensive. It actually works as a dual. It can work as an aerial and a pumper. And the ISO, that's one of the pieces of apparatus that they actually wanted us to look into try to purchase. Our last purchase was a 07 on a pumper.
And I think part of it is due to hopefully phase out the special assessment area.
It is.
So,
Any discussion?
well, who's gonna present?
Great, okay, so on this, we've talked about this, I know this was discussed even before I came on council 2.5 years ago, that we need to combine the fire and the EMS department. That they were split at one time for various reasons, but that the goal was always to combine them. And so what I've done is created a structure here that we can discuss whether you like the structure or not, of how we could move EMS from the county into the fire district. And it's basically funding. Now, just to go through it, county council at the top, of course, county council has to approve any tax increases. Right now, we are an SSD governing control board. That's what we are right now. This proposes an administrative control board in which we would have 2 members of the county council beyond, and then whatever number of at-large members the county council would like to place on that board. The new structure, the biggest new thing would be to have a new manager for the special service district. And I'm willing to debate whether that's needed or not. Fire chief would report to that manager. The EMS director would report to that manager.
Or the control board.
Or the control board if we took that manager out. And what it means by fire first personnel or EMS first personnel is we have a situation to where our applicant pool is lower than it could be for EMTs and even for firemen because they don't all want to be cross-trained. However, the Venn diagram on the right side where it says fire personnel and EMS personnel, anyone who's cross-trained would be in that overlapping spot, and that's how you would qualify to be a full-time employee if you're cross-trained, or if you're a part-timer and you want to have an increased pay or to be stepped up in the system for pay, then you would have to be cross-trained. The financial considerations, what it says down here, is part of what Steve's already talked about. We're going to lose the special assessment in the fire district as it is. We need a needs assessment to be funded, a capital facilities plan to be funded. We need to fund moving the personnel and everything that we need to operate EMS within the new district. It would be the same district, but I propose that we change the name if they'll allow us to do just a name change to the Wasatch County Fire EMS Special Service District. And then finally, if we deem it's necessary for a new district manager.
Councilman Good on
Yes,
that? Question, maybe some legal research. Where the county fire SSD was created by a citizen vote, is that correct? When it was created?
It was.
Would it require a vote to
It
do
was
it?
created and then it was given a ability to levy a tax.
And they set a mill rate, potential mill rate, right? To add, to add EMS, would that take another vote? What would have to happen on that? Scott, you know,
Typically a special service district isn't created by a vote, but there can be a vote to object to it or to keep it from being created. But the mill levy absolutely was a vote. So to change that, there's a procedure in the code to how to change a name or what you have to do to move that around.
so the changing the name or adding in probably wouldn't be the problem unless you raise it or changing the mill
So if you
rate.
change the name, that's not a bigger issue. If you change what the special service district can do, you now go through the kind of a similar process because you're adding a service that hasn't been provided before possibly, but not necessarily because we do have emergency response as part of the fire district. So
And there is the difference that the EMS piece that they pulled in to develop the service function where the fire is.
And that gets a little bit more than I can answer off the top of my head, but clearly it can be done. It's just a
We
matter
had to research the creation document of the fire district to make sure they had a medical. That was included.
And I think it was because they're doing some of that, but I can't research it.
Okay, go ahead.
And that was what was done previously, is they were together under the district, I believe. And so, so anyways, that's kind of sums it up. Of course, the big part is the big number and the dollar amount. I've talked to Mike Davis about this, Ernie Giles, and Claire, and I didn't get as much detail into the organizational chart with Mike, of course, but I did with Ernie and Claire, and they've had their feedback on, they don't necessarily think a manager is required, but they can speak for themselves on that if you have any questions. The problem is that we've been kicking this particular issue down the road for a number of years. The tax increase that was done 4 years ago now wasn't adequate even for what was needed at the time. The tax increase of the $750 is not adequate for what we need. It just keeps us from completely drowning. So I think the number, it looks like 1.5 million is a large number. However, it's not large if you're talking about doing all of this together as far as what would be needed to function the district properly to provide the services that we need and at the level that our citizens expect. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Good, right now, a portion of the funding for the EMS comes out of the general fund. Is this $1.5 million increase considering that still coming out of the general fund?
No, no. So what this would do is the mill levy for the fire district would increase to pay for the function,
So the general fund may go down somewhat.
potentially depending on what the county manager's needs are at that time.
So in other words, what you just said was, this would increase to put that amount in the district and then to drop off the council.
It could.
Or the general fund. So that would
Do you
help.
have any comments on that?
Currently, the budget for EMS is about $1.5 million, and currently we budgeted about 700,000 or 800,000, 700,000 of revenue. So we've been subsidizing 800,000 or so, and so that would be the difference. If the budget were to come down, it would come down more than that. But I'd certainly got lists of things I can submit for potential looks at for that.
And that would be another piece that would need to be investigated by our,
Yeah.
on that one.
Yeah.
Question for Councilman Good.
Yes, sir.
The last meeting, or the meeting before, we mentioned we wanted to talk about this, but you had thought about bringing fire into the county.
Right, so the proposal that I put on the agenda last time, or for a future meeting, was to do either. My first 2 years on council, as you all know, except for the 2 new guys, of course, is that I propose that we make this change happen as quickly as possible, otherwise it'll get kicked down the road further and further. And there seemed to be no interest in that by the council. But there had been some back channel discussions about moving fire to the county as a department. Once that became public, I suppose, once I brought it up, then the discussion became a little more animated, I guess, than it had been in the past. And when I discussed with all of the relevant parties, moving EMS to the fire district was the plan all along, and it just became dormant. And that would probably be the most appropriate thing to do. But that's, yeah, I researched that.
It's been discussed both ways over the years, which would work best.
For the discussion, I think like that, in your opinion, this is a better way to go.
Councilman Farrell, may I make a guess?
I appreciate you guys addressing this issue. I think this is a good model, personally. The SSD manager, I'm not sure that that's the best use of our funds. I think that if you had a legislative board, be it an advisory board, that would be the better way to go. Mike made a good point, and I have to say thank you to Mike, because I think he gets caught between a rock and a hard spot sometimes, trying to help EMS, trying to help you guys, and I appreciate his support. However, from an EMS standpoint or a fire standpoint, I don't care where you go in the country, you won't fund yourself by the income or the revenue through, it just doesn't happen. We have about a 52% revenue basis from what we collect, which is throughout Utah is actually pretty darn good. I just need to say that I think it's time we move forward. We've worked on this so long, and I've told you this, that our people, we're wearing them out. We're going to have a train wreck. We had 3 ambulances out yesterday. We had 4 ambulances out at a time on Saturday. Last week we had 3 ambulances on a transfer. Jordan L. was on another call. And to try and get people to cover these calls is becoming more difficult. Our part-time people are almost doing a full-time job part-time. And so this is definitely something that needs addressed. It's a public safety issue. And I think some of that, and maybe I'm speaking out of school here, but I think some of that revenue needs to go to fund our full-time employees, because honestly, their wages right now are just not what they ought to be. And I say that sincerely. So I would hope that you would support a movement forward in helping us to pull that full-time trigger. We've got to do it now, otherwise we're another year down the road, budgetary-wise, before we can do that. I just need your support. I appreciate your support. I know Ernie appreciates your support, and I appreciate Mike's support. He is awesome to work with and trying to help us work through this. And we try to find ways to work through it part-time, and we're just getting wore out, quite honestly.
Thank you, Claire. Any other discussion? If not, why don't we entertain a motion to whether proceed with the tax increase, and this run at a rate between $750,000 to $1.5 million, and not have the number defined yet, and we get more research into it.
I'd like that. A little bit more research, but I'd make the motion that we move forward with this proposed tax increase to start the process, to gather more information. And did you say you want to set an amount, $750,000 to $1 million?
$750,000 to $1.5 million.
That would be my motion.
Yeah. We have a motion.
Second.
Understand the motion? We have a second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The other item we want to talk about is the advisory board, working with them, and I'll say that as I work with the advisory board, me and Councilman Good has been on that, we're very impressed and with the dedication and the expertise that's on that board. They recommended to us last week, and we'd like to authorize the Chief Giles to go ahead and do an RFP on needs assessment and capital facility plan. This would give us the ability to have a roadmap of what type of equipment we need to look at purchasing first, and it would give us a check on the impact fee, what we can include in the impact fee. So,
Ready for motion?
I'm ready for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would make the motion that we authorize Chief Childs to send out an RFP for a needs assessment and capital facilities plan for the Wasatch County Fire SST.
We have a motion, we have a second. We have a second. We, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I have a question. Just curious, have we ever done a needs assessment or capital facility plan recently here on my property?
Oh, wait.
This paper, did you get this last week? This is the one that
Oh, yes.
and that's what they got on
Well,
there.
I think we did a capital facility plan in 08, but we've never done a needs assessment.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, we never had a needs assessment.
Correct.
And this would be the first step in that. Warrants, did they get approved? We have warrants in the amount of how many? Ernie?
$24,313.93.
Can you just give
Some Ballard Spar is $73.80. Utah Retirement Systems, $14,819.97. Verizon Wireless, $216.28. The Fuel Man for our fuel, $902.29. Cintas Rugs and Rags, $70.83. Tish Law, $3,230.78. Pocon Inc. LLC, $3,180.
what is that?
And Cindy Fitzgerald for supplies, $1,820. The $3,180 is for hats.
Okay.
And the Cindy Fitzgerald is for a gift for the firemen at their annual party.
The majority of it was the retirement. Any questions on the warrants? Seeing none, we entertain a motion to approve the warrants as presented.
So made.
We have a motion, we have a second. Yes. We have a second, Councilman Peterson, all in favor? Any opposed? Nothing else to discuss, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Before this made statement there was no need for a closed session.
There's no need for a closed session.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor? Aye. Thanks, Ernie.
Yes, that was some texture. You didn't check for